Yo, welcome back to some more battles. We are in the open greatly today as the leagues have rotated, and we're going to be using our Gastrodon paired with the Shadow Typhlosion and the Shadow Gligar. And kind of a neutral lead here, depending on what they want to do. They actually swap into their Blastoise, and this Blastoise tanks the Earth power. Unfortunately, Blastoise is a huge core breaker for our backline, so we're just going to stay in and continue firing off moves. They finally invest the shield, and we are going to shield here because we can get these extra mud-slap damage. We are just going to let this go at this point, and we are going to get the farm down. Now we have a little bit of energy to throw back at this Guzzlord. So Guzzlord gets chipped away into the yellow, and now we're going to have our Gligar face this Guzzlord doing super effective fast move damage. They go for the brutal swing, and now we have the Typhlosion versus the Talonflame. Luckily, we outpaced them. We get to this first Thunder Punch quickly. Huge damage goes through. Our opponent is going to have to be using energy here. We let it go, and we look for the farm down. We get the farm down, and at this point, we have a shield and we have damage. Our charge move to throw, and our opponent realizes that they are not going to be able to get to two more moves or get the farm down before we farm them down. So GG's to our opponent, able to win that game basically kind of with alignment, but they did switch it out and make it easier for us. Lapras' lead is going to be better in the front, as we definitely don't want to see Lapras in the back. We're just going to fire off this Earth Power immediately. It does get shielded, interesting. So we have a decision to make. We are going to let this go as well. And we are just going to potentially shield this one so that we can get to another move. Our opponent does stay in for a bit. We go for another Earth Power, and down goes the Lapras. So the biggest threat is gone. And now we have Typhlosion versus this Glaring Moltres. It does expend its last shield, and what do we think is in the back at this point? We think that this Typhlosion is going to be pretty good. They catch the move onto their Drapion. The Drapion, even though it was caught, didn't really appreciate that Thunder Punch, dealing nearly 40%. We force energy from this Drapion, and now we're going to force them to throw more energy at our Gastro, chunking away at them. We get them to use this energy. Aqua Tail takes us out easily, but now we can farm with our Gligar. Gligar versus this Moltres. We only have to get to an aerial ace, and down goes the opposing Moltres. So GG's to our opponents. The Moltres in the back, luckily we had a shield, but more importantly, the Shadow Typhlosion basically was a core breaker for that backline. Alright, next we have Stunfisk to deal with. Interesting enough, they swap into their Furret. This Furret is going to be pretty tanky, but we've done so much damage with the Mudslaps, we can just go into our Gligar. Gligar able to tank the first Swift, and we can tank the next Swift. We are going to fire off a move here. This potentially could get a shield, and it does get the shield. So at least we get the shield advantage. And the thought process here is we have so much residual energy on our Gastro, we can fire off this Earth Power. They go for the double shield, and our opponent has enough energy for a Trailblaze. We decide to shield that. And at this point, we just make sure we get rid of this before they get to another Trailblaze. They still have the Stunfisk, and actually is a Dripplum in the back. So here we just overfarm, and luckily we get to throw this Blast Burn at the correct move. Huge Blast Burn goes through. Our opponent does get to a move, but we can just shield, and we're going to look for potentially a farm down. We do get the farm down, and we just go for this next move here. Thunder Punch is going to get them extremely low. They have to go for a Shadow Ball, and it ends up being the Shadow Ball, but they're so low that we can just farm down with the Gastro. So GG's to our opponent. Pretty decent end game for us, considering the Typhlosion didn't get their move caught, and that Blast Burn was very useful against that Stunfisk. All right, got the Gastro versus Diggersby now. This Diggersby is going to be okay to deal with. They are going to be able to fire off this Scorching Sand first, and it does proc the debuff, so they go ahead and switch out into their Jelly, and they catch a debuffed move. We try to get to this Thunder Punch before they can get to their move, but they're just going to be able to outpace us. Down goes our Typhlosion without getting to a move, but maybe we can wiggle out of this situation. This Jelly here, huge core breaker. Surf is also going to take us out. We thought we could survive with a sliver of health right there, but unfortunately not the case. We get to this Aerial Ace. Will they shield? Nope. They just have to let it go. And they have a Shadow Primeape in the back. So with 2 shields, this is not looking good for us. We are pretty much on even energy. They get to this Rage Fist. We decided to just tank it. And even though Rage Fist is going to only increase their attack, which is resisted, they're just adding up too much. Another Aerial Ace, down goes 2 shields, and they go back into their Diggersby. So GG's to our opponent. Tough backline for us. I mean, either or, if they swapped into the Jelly, it still would have been a pretty good situation for them. We didn't really have a good answer for it, but maybe we would have been able to get to multiple Thunder Punches. All right, here we got the Gastrodon Mirror. We are going to let the first one go. They go for the Body Slam bait, though. And we're just going to full send it here. Whisper Power does go through, and our opponent is extremely low health. Body Slam is used and gets us pretty low, but we do win the lead because we did call the first bait. And this allows us to get to this Earth Power here. Huge Earth Power. Takes a chunk of the Toxapex's health, and we can come in here with the Gligar. This Gligar is going to be able to tank the brine, and at this point we just got to make sure we throw this Aerial Ace before they get to their next move. Down goes the Toxapex, and GG's to our opponent, unable to win that game. So check out the team if you haven't already, and let us know if you enjoyed the video.